So after messing with that carburetor and getting it all set up and ready for storage, I'm super motivated to work on this, and I did a 700 R4 conversion. It's really dusty and the paint was already bad when I bought the car. The car was silver when I bought it, and I buffed it and it turned blue. So it's got all this dust on it and it's getting faded again, so I'm gonna have to buff it again. I want to say it was fast EFI, but I'll have to check with Summit on that, is where I got this bracket, and I have it all set up. I like the return springs a little bit better than the Mr. Gasket cheap ones. These aren't much better, but they look higher quality. The chrome lining looks better, the winding looks better, things like that. The bracket is steel, and I'm not sure what kind of coating, some sort of paint on here. I do have my throttle hooked up. I do not have my TV cable hooked up yet. It's hanging on the other side somewhere. I did the 700 R4 conversion from a Turbo 350 after my Turbo 350 went out. This is the Atomic EFI. I don't know if you can tell that that is not a carburetor under there, but I have also done a serpentine belt drive. Let's see if we can get a better color on this. Yeah, there's the serpentine belt drive. I also have the Vortec L31 motor. You notice I have no bolts in the center there. There are some accessory holes, but there is no bolt holes. This thing did make pretty decent torque, and I was very happy with it after I went to the Atomic EFI. It's been a lot of hiccups and problems, but it was noticeably more power. I did go from 8 miles to the gallon to 14 miles to the gallon with a really nasty vacuum leak, and after pulling my exhaust to get this transmission in, I also had a header leak on the side with the O2 sensor. It'll be interesting to see how much more power I have when I take this thing to get dynoed in a few months. It's only rated at 255 horsepower. A lot of people say once you put a 650 or 750 on it with some headers, you're pushing close to 300 with this in stock form. I'm running 1000 CFM throttle body from Atomic EFI, and hopefully this will be a lot better than 300, but I doubt it. We'll see. It does run infinitely better, even with the vacuum leak it had and the oxygen sensor leak, or I should say exhaust leak, so the O2 sensor is getting an improper reading. But that will all be fixed here in the next couple days. So like I said, super motivated to work on this today, and I left my jack at work like an idiot. I've got just a cheap Harbor Freight race jack. I've been wanting to upgrade, so maybe I'll go buy one today because that is closer than work. I'll start posting videos of my 64 Buick next, but the only thing this thing needs to run is the O2 sensor put back in, and I don't want to put that in until I get the cross member in, and I can't get the cross member in until I pull the cable for the emergency brake, drop the exhaust a little bit, slide that bad boy back in, put it all back together, and then I'm going to have to tow it somewhere to have the driveline cut. Once the driveline is cut, I will have 308 rear gears, 700 R4, modern engine, modern fuel and delivery, a modern serpentine belt drive, and if you look, I got a ton of room right here with this mechanical fan. I have no shroud. I have not gotten over 180 degrees. I do live in Sonoma. Sonoma County is very mild temperatures. I will be installing a Volvo cooling fan with the Volvo cooling fan relays. The only thing I'll be hooking up that won't be Volvo will be my temperature sending wires from the Atomic EFI, and it does have the 2 speeds, so I'll hook the low wire up to my low speed on my relays, and then the high speed to my high speed relay. Then I will be running electric cooling fans, and I think I'm going to get close to 20 miles to the gallon, hopefully, with the modern roller cam, the modern serpentine belt, and the overdrive transmission, and an electronic cooling fan. I went with the Volvo for a couple of reasons. One, it's a lot cheaper than an aftermarket. Two, those aftermarkets tend to fail. I know a couple of buddies that have had them, and they don't last more than a couple of years. Volvos, I've very rarely have seen them with bad cooling fans. So even a used one from the junkyard should last many, many years and cost me about $30 with the relays. So that's a pretty cheap upgrade. I am 19 inches tall by 22 inches wide on the back of my radiator. I'm probably going to get a piece of sheet metal. After I post this video, I'm probably going to Summit Racing to see if they make a prefabbed one and get the dimensions and see if it'll work for me. I'll clearly have plenty of room. I've been anticipating doing this for a couple of years now and just haven't gotten around to it. I did get the fan last year, but I'm a little lazy and haven't done it yet. I do have another fan, I forget the name of these, yeah, basically not a spacer in here for the fan, and I've cut that off, chucked it up in my lathe, and I have a perfect spacer that's Cerakoted stealth gray, which will look a little odd in here. But I think I'm gonna take all my pulleys off when I do that and kind of bead blast them and Cerakote them, and I don't know, maybe I'll do a weird color or something. Maybe I'll go Chevy orange or USMC red, or maybe I've got a bunch of gold left that I'm probably never going to use. I think that would look ridiculous in here, but they'd be well protected. Yeah, so that will change my idle, but I can fix my idle in my handheld from my MSD Atomic EFI, which is really, really, really nice. The heater works. My next one will be to get my wipers working, because there's something wrong with the wiring there. I'll figure out my wipers and I'll be able to drive this all winter. Other things I've done to this car, where I did put in, I don't know if you're going to get a good look at these, about a year ago, so they got a lot of dust on them. I do have energy suspension bushings. I did put Koni red adjustable shocks. I did do stock replacement springs. I was surprised at how much stock replacement springs would raise up the car. It did raise it about 1.5 inches. Those old springs did sag. They are, 45 years old, so they did sag a lot. I just put Moog Problem Solver tie rod ends and tie rod connectors. Somebody, the previous owner, had actually did the idle arm and pitman arm. They were driving this with no rear brakes and only front drum brakes. So now I have a disc brake conversion. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in there. No, it doesn't look like it, but I think I can get it on the back side there. And there's the shield. So I did do the disc brake conversion. That did help with stopping immensely. Yeah, new tires. They're about a year old now. Focus. Yeah. I'm going to be going to 16s or 17s to do my 98 Camaro brakes. I do have a full set sitting in the shed here. Thanks to local pick and pull. They were extremely reasonable, but they will not fit my 15-inch wheels. So this is my $2,000 Nova that I bought a motor and did the suspension and did the fuel injection on. I think I'm into the whole car for about $6,000. There's a lot of labor in that. It probably would have cost me a lot more to pay someone to do it. It probably would have been done a lot faster if I would have just paid somebody. All right, thank you and have a great day.